Hello and welcome to Virtuos. This time I will be going through some of the ways to create your own miniatures. Playing a tabletop game shouldn't be a pricey hobby if you don't want it to be, and with these tips you can create your own monsters for your own, for example, D&D games. Of course you should support your local game stores and whatever place you are playing them in, or at least support the creators of the game if they have their own supplements. First of all, let's start with the easy one. Build a stone golem. It's good practice for this stuff in terms of 3D sculpting, even though it's not that much of a sculpt than it is just gluing pieces together. But there are several tutorials online and on YouTube on this. I have used these as stand-ins for giants, for example, and by applying these techniques it's possible to create any kind of elemental, be it ice or fire even. And I think I have seen some kind of a ice elemental tutorial here on YouTube also, where they use pretty much the same techniques used in this one. Next are a few polymer mass minis I have created. I started making small minis about 2 years ago, and they were mostly goblins and elves for D&D mostly, but I quickly realized that I can make a dragon or a beholder if need be, at least so that it looks good enough on the table. So this was the first sculpt I did. The spine and legs have metal wire in them to make the model stay in the right stance, but otherwise it's just polymer clay molded into what looks like a dragon. I have the video on a burrow worm that goes more into detail with how to craft with polymer clay. The beholder has a giant ball of aluminium foil inside of it, so that I don't have to waste euros worth of polymer clay on it, and it also bakes faster if I only have a thin layer of the clay on top of the model. Ogre was my third sculpt, and it turned out very nice. I've used this as stand-in for giants, trolls, ogres and whatnot for games like D&D and Rangers of Shadowdeep, and even Oathmark or larger scale miniature battle games. It's always a good idea to have a troll or an ogre model for D&D campaigns, since usually giants or trolls or ogres will encounter your party in the end. Next up, the Froghemoth. I created this just to see how it would turn out. I had planned for a D&D game that in the end didn't go that far, and because of Corona we had to postpone the game even further. The monster never appeared in the game in the end, and I've used this sometimes on Rangers of Shadowdeep for example, but again you can use this as a stand-in for whatever huge or large monster you have. The catapult is made from XPS foam all in all and works quite well. For example, Oathmark, but also I have used this as kind of a scatter terrain for D&D if you're outdoors or in an enemy camp or on a battlefield or etc. The last but not least is the burrow worm that I made a tutorial about that you can go watch on my channel here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.